Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another video. It is Monday, so we are doing a Mindset Monday video, and I'm actually getting ready to go out. Gotta run a couple errands, and I'm gonna go to dinner, and so I'm gonna get ready, put my makeup on, and talk to you guys. And I am currently sipping on my healthy wine, which are my greens and reds. If you're watching in the replay, let me know. I'd love to hear. If you're not following me on Instagram, please do so. My Instagram is Joanna Joy with an I underscore. And I'll give you guys a few minutes to come on in, and then we're going to get started with today's topic. And this is a fun one for me because I haven't really shared too much about my own mental toughness, mental acuity journey. And so I'm going to share that with you guys and talk about how the people who have the most soft and not even luxurious, but more so like lifestyles of ease and grace are the ones who are the most mentally tough. And I want to talk about a little bit how I came to that realization and some things that I've noticed have helped my clients to live a more gentle, graceful, not even easy, because life is always has challenges, but more so just less crazy lifestyle. So I'm going to go ahead and put my name in the chat, my info in the chat for you guys, and then we'll get started with the video. Okay, so do that. So if you want to, if you're looking for coaching or anything like that, you can go ahead and click on joannajoy.com. Okay, so let's talk about this idea. I know, like, one of the trends on YouTube and on Instagram right now is like this idea of a soft life, and it's an aesthetic, right? So it's like, what does it look like? There's a lot of external ideals for this, and this also goes, there's like a whole thing on like what it means to be a woman and femininity and health, and it's all kind of the same external superficial adjustments, and they don't necessarily address like what mentality, what things you need to say, what things you need to think, what things you need to do in order to actually change your lifestyle, because people can present as being like soft or open-hearted, and then when you really get to know them, you're like, wow, like you're really rough. You still are not actually living this soft life that you keep portraying on Instagram or YouTube. So the first thing that I want to do is basically tell you guys a little bit about my own mental journey and my emotional journey, and how I got to a place where I didn't feel the need to protect myself all the time and didn't feel the need to be like proving myself to everybody all the time. And I didn't feel this, like I could relax and just accept who I am. And that to me is what a soft life is. It's like, I'm not trying to prove anything to anyone at this stage of my life. So I want to help you guys, talk to you guys about how I got there. Okay, so I'm gonna do my face. One thing that you should know that you may not know about me is that when I was younger, I had quite a few people make a lot of disparaging comments about who I am, what I look like, my abilities, my future. People were really, really mean. They were really, really mean. And I had like a lot of close family members would, make comments about my intelligence. They made comments about, I had one family member say, oh, you're going to be pregnant at 16 and, you're going to be XYZ. I had someone's parent when I was in middle school was like, oh my gosh, she's so ugly, like about me in middle school. So I had family members tell me that I was stupid. I had, immediate and extended family members who were just cruel. And I really had to learn how to, like, basically have water off a duck's back, because I didn't have a choice, right? So for me, it was like, okay, well, if it didn't matter if those things were true or not, I didn't really even think about it in that way. To me, I think one thing that we have to remember is that when you're an adult and you say things to a child, that becomes their internal voice. And so it doesn't matter if you're like, oh, I shouldn't have said that, or I'm sorry, like, you've already kind of, like, if you've done it multiple times, you've kind of given them their voice, their inner voice, which is when parents are like, oh, you shouldn't do that, or that's not for your age group, or that's not, you're not made for that. It's like you're teaching your child not to try things. You're teaching your child that they're incapable. And so I just cringe now when I hear parents say that, or when I hear people tell children that, because it's like, who says that they're not? So what? They're not the best at it. Let them try. And so anyway, based on all of those events that happened in my life, I grew to be very emotionally. I had to kind of shut things down. And what that means is I was basically like, I nothing that you say, nothing that you do matters. I don't care. I'm not going to feel anything but like anger and rage. And that fueled a lot of what I did. And the problem with being fueled by anger and rage is that you always need anger and rage to succeed, right? And like, there's nothing wrong with that, but as a woman who's trying to like not be angry all the time, that doesn't sit well with me, right? But for a large majority of my life, a lot of what I did was fueled by like anger, rage, and like, I'm going to prove to you that that's not true, right? So and maybe that was intentional on behalf of the adults to be like, oh, let me just tell her that she's stupid, tell her that she's going to be pregnant at 16, and then she won't want to do that. I don't know. But that's just not the best practice. Like, I'm not doing that to teens that I work with. Like, that doesn't seem like the best idea. And so, I spent the latter half, like through my 20s, with that sort of mentality. Like, I had something to prove. And the way that comes off is just like overworking yourself, no lack of boundaries, like true lack of boundaries in your life, because you're just like, I'll show you. And so you don't know how to rest. You don't know how to take time for yourself. You don't know how to accept help. You don't know how, in any of those things. They're all, you're just like, you're consumed with your work. Your work is your identity. Like, your success is your identity in terms of your monetary success. And listen, you guys know I love a good monetary success. I love a good bag. I love a good, 6-figure year, but that's not going to be something that's going to define me. But for a long portion of my life, because of the childhood that I had, and because of some of the comments that were made, that was my whole identity. And so I spent the majority of my, early 20s, mid 20s, just trying to prove to everybody that I could do it all and that I didn't need anybody's help. And this was all subconscious, of course. So maybe it manifests itself as, you're working 80, 90 hours a week. You're like, nope, these women are weak if they don't do what I do. They can't handle this. I'm a boss babe. I don't need rest. Rest is for the weak. It's like, you have something to prove. You're not actually comfortable in yourself. And so for me, I'm not sure who this is. For me, that's how it manifested. And I definitely struggled with having like good friendships and healthy relationships, because truly deep down inside, like, the people who are like that are like, have a lot of insecurities, right? If you've been told for a lot of your life that like, you can't do something, or you're stupid, or you're an idiot, or you know, that's not for you, or this, if you don't do it this way, you're wrong. You're going to struggle with having your own voice. You're going to struggle with doing what you need to do for you. You're going to struggle with trying new things. Okay, this is backwards. Let me see if I can do this the right way. And so that was me, right? And so I spent the majority of my 20s with this, like, I'm so mentally tough, like nobody's going to be able to tear me down. And that was great in a lot of ways. Like, in a lot of ways, I learned how to shut out negative voices and shut out negativity so that I could just get things done. I was able to, I had this remarkable power that I do not have anymore. This remarkable power to just like push through anything, to work through anything. And I did so at the expense of my health. Like, let me not get it twisted. I did so at the expense of my health. But I had the ability to just work through anything, push through anything, turn off all the negativity, turn off all the negative voices. And I was fueled a lot by just making sure that I proved to everybody that I could do it. And in a lot of ways, that's what made me successful. Like, I was highly driven. So I would say now for the wrong reasons, but I was highly driven and highly motivated by the fact that I wanted to prove to everybody else that I was not what they said I was. And so that's what gave me like a mental toughness, right? I was an athlete. I learned how to I used athletics and sports to really just shut down negativity and to learn how to push through things that I didn't want to. I developed that, but I also developed an inability to not be vulnerable. I couldn't be vulnerable because when most of your life is spent proving to everybody else that you're capable, you're worthy, you're this, you're that, you actually are not secure with yourself, because people who don't need to prove that already know their value. And it's one thing to like, oh, I'm a new person at work and I need to like, of course, these are things that don't apply to necessarily corporate world, or I'm talking about in general, because on the internet, if you say anything too nuanced, people get crazy. I learned that a couple days ago. So what I'm saying is, in general, if you're walking around with a chip on your shoulder, having to prove yourself to everybody, then you're likely really highly insecure. And if you're highly insecure, you're on edge all the time, which means you can't actually like go home and rest and feel safe in your own skin. And to me, that's what the soft life is really all about. It's just like, it's feeling safe in your own skin and feeling like, you know what, like I can, I'm like, is this working? Feeling safe in your own skin and being able to just live your life regardless of what other people think about it, And of course, like as a believer, we do things that are like the first person we care about is the glory of God, right? So we want to do things that are honoring God first and foremost. What everybody else thinks is of no consequence, right? You want to be, if you're in alignment with what God wants you to do, it truly doesn't matter what the rest of the world thinks, right? So, but if you're walking around like I was in a lot of my life, only doing things to make other people happy because I was like, or not even to make them happy, but just to prove a point, I was really living for other people. I was living so that I could get their approval and be like, see, I told you. But that is a deep-rooted insecurity, right? That's deeply rooted insecurity. And again, that doesn't mean that I don't want to be independently wealthy and successful, because I still do, but it's never going to be for someone else. Like, let me tell you that it's never going to be for someone else. And because I had so many people telling me that, oh, you're stupid, like you're going to be pregnant at 16, you have no emotional control, you're a wild child, you're ugly, like, oh, you're not cute, whatever. I was spending most of my life trying to prove that to people and trying to prove them that they were wrong. And that works for fuel for a little while, but it also burns you out. And so that's why, like, this idea of a soft life, it can't come from this place of like, I want to prove this to other people. It has to come from a desire for yourself to live in a calm, peaceful state. And so how do you do that? I'm so glad you asked. One of the things that I had to do was I had to really face my own insecurities and be like, okay, I'm actually very insecure about the way that I look. You guys know I competed for 2 or 3 years, and I was like trying to get as small as possible, and I didn't care that I did so at the expense of my health. So I did that for many years because I was like, if I'm just, fit enough, then people will like me. That was the deep down like motivation, like maybe I'll be cute or whatever. And so I did that, right? So I was thinking, okay, why am I doing what I'm doing? And am I doing it for me? Am I doing it for God? Or am I doing it so that other people think of me a certain way? And so I had to really look at the things that I was doing and what I was quote unquote insecure about, what I was secure about. And I had to get honest with myself and say, okay, is some of this true? Like, is some of what people are saying true? Like, am I highly emotional? Am I do I not think things through? Am I late all the time? Like, whatever it was, I had to ask myself, like, is it true? And then can I fix it? Let's get honest about that, right? The other thing I had to do is ask myself about my own identity. Like, who am I and who do I want to be? And I worked actively to become that person so that I wasn't living my life based on what other people thought I should be, but based on what I knew in my soul was who God called me to be. And that is a peaceful life. That is a soft life, to be able to be like, okay, I'm not doing things so that other people will like me. I'm not doing things to maybe prove to someone that I'm not this thing. I'm doing things because this genuinely is in alignment with what I'm supposed to be doing. And the last thing I want to say is this whole idea of a soft life is really centered around like peace, right? And one of the ways that you can have peace in your life is by really building and working up your confidence, your self-confidence. So your confidence will help you to live a soft life in the following ways. Number one, when you're confident that things are going to work out. You don't feel the need to work tirelessly if you don't have to. Now, listen, if you are someone who is in a dire situation and you truly, truly need, you have to work excessively, then that's you, right? But if you're just working because you like have something to prove, and then you go home to a pink plush couch, like that's not a truly soft life. Can you rest internally? That's another thing about confidence. Like, can you rest internally? When you go home, do you like yourself? Right? Do you enjoy being around yourself? Do you enjoy the sound of silence? Because part of having a soft life is really understanding the benefits and the pleasure of silence. But if you're someone who still, hasn't worked through your childhood trauma and you're filling up your life with things and calling it the soft life, maybe you don't have a soft life. Maybe your soft external world is soft, but your internal world is still really, really rough because you haven't actually addressed the things that will allow you to actually rest. Because the key of a soft life is actually being able to rest. And one of the ways that you are able to rest is when you deal with all of the stuff that caused you to want to hustle and bustle and be quick to clap back, all that stuff anyway. You have to actually deal with that stuff so that you're not just going home to a plush pink couch and wine glasses and fluffy things and an organized house, but then you're like, oh my gosh, I don't really like my life, right? If you really want a truly soft life, you are going to have to be mentally tough in a different way. And that's what the title of this video is about. People who have a soft life are the people who are mentally tough in the right way. And what does that mean? That means that they're the people who they've been through the fire and they know, they're very confident in their ability to handle the fire. They're very confident in themselves. And what that takes mental toughness to look at yourself in the face and say, I have these mistakes that I need to address. These are the things that I need to do. This is why I am the way that I am. To be able to truly relax and to truly have a soft life where you're unbothered, that takes mental toughness, because that means you have to face all of the things that made you want to be unbothered in the first place. And I speak from experience, right? I had this exterior, it was a tough exterior, but I was highly insecure on the inside. So I couldn't go home and rest. I couldn't go home and just enjoy myself. I was constantly anxious, thinking about this thing, thinking about that person, thinking about what they're going to say, thinking about this and that. So yes, I could come home to a pink plush, soft appearance, white and gold and marble, but could I mentally rest? Could I mentally say, not my monkey, not my circus? That's a real soft life. And that requires mental toughness, and that requires mental acuity to be able to say, not my monkey, not my circus. I'm not worried about that. To be able to turn your brain off and say, and the discipline it requires to have a soft life is the discipline that it takes to take care of yourself so that you can relax. Because it does no good to have plush, items in your home. And yes, I love all that. I love a bubble bath. I love gold flakes and 18 karat gold masks. I love it all. But what is your insight? What is your peace level? Because if you don't actually have that peace, then your life isn't soft. And the way that you get that peace is that you really have to dig deep internally. You have to ask yourself the questions that you've been afraid to ask. You have to deal with the emotions that you've been afraid to deal with. That's how you get a soft life. Because if you're still going to bed at night scared of your emotions, if you're still going to bed at night scared of what other people think, but you're sleeping in a white, fluffy bed and you're sleeping with plush pillows, and, your house is dimly lit with, the perfect lighting, then you're not living a soft life. So let's do the internal work. Let's get real confidence. Let's get real health. Let's get internal personal development that's going to help us to not only appear to have a soft life, but to really have a soft life on the inside. To really be able to rest and enjoy life, and to not feel the need to hustle and bustle and prove ourselves to other people. And if you are interested in my confidence program for women, and it teaches you specifically what things you need to think, say, believe, so that you can gain confidence, I'm going to link that in the chat below, because the woman who is truly confident is the woman who can have a soft life. All right, you guys, I'm going to finish putting on my face, and then we're going to go. I think we have a happy hour or something. I don't know. No. Not my monkey or my circus. My job is to look cute. Just kidding. So anyway, if you are interested in that program, it's one of my favorite programs, The Confident Woman, How to 10x Your Confidence, 10 Secret Keys to Confidence. I will go ahead and link that in the chat box. And you guys, if you enjoyed this video, please support me by liking and commenting that this video was supportive. And I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for your support. I appreciate you guys so much. And have a beautiful, wonderful Monday night. Bye, y'all.